Bom dia a todos. Muito obrigado por terem aceitado o convite para esta manhã, em que recebemos com muita honra o professor Mike, da Coventry University. We are very glad to have you here with us this morning. We hope this meeting will be very successful in order to start new agreements between our universities. Our schedule will be roughly this. In the first half of the meeting here, Professor Mike will present the Coventry University. Excuse me. Before that, we're going to show a short video in order Professor Mike have a good idea, a brief idea of our university, and then he will present his university. And in the second half of this meeting, we will discuss the possibilities of agreement between our universities. After that, we're going to have a coffee break. And after the coffee break, we're going to show Professor Mike our labs, just to have an idea of the research we conduct here in our university. So we're going to start with the presentation of our university. Who is going to present that?
A space that breathes education. An institution guided towards instruction that is academically excellent, socially relevant, and economically sustainable. The history of Mackenzie began in 1870 when two American missionaries, Reverend George Chamberlain and his wife Mary Annesley, set up a school in São Paulo. The American school, as it came to be called, had a radical proposal for that time. Classes were co-educational and there was no task memorization. It was one of the first schools in Brazil to accept the children of slaves, demonstrating its pioneering vision. The growth of Mackenzie is intertwined with the expansion and modernization of São Paulo. At the end of the 19th century, the school's benefactor, Mr. Mackenzie, donated funds for a piece of land that would later house the School of Engineering. In 1952, Mackenzie became Mackenzie University. Then, in 1998, the word Presbyterian was added to the name and it became known as Mackenzie Presbyterian University.
O Mackenzie, desde o início, surge como uma expressão de fé. Ainda hoje é a nossa fé que nos move no anseio de olharmos para o mundo, para as pessoas, através das categorias da criação, da queda e da redenção, e no intuito, então, de educar pessoas, alunos, para que se tornem cidadãos, que realizem os seus plenos potenciais e abençoem o mundo.
Over 140 years, Mackenzie has been implementing numerous study programs at different levels in various fields, from preschool to postgraduate study and adult education. Our pedagogical proposal continues to be one of Mackenzie's key differentials, both for the market as well as for the students' lives.
A Universidade Presbiteriana Mackenzie oferece cursos com alto padrão de qualidade, com projetos curriculares baseados numa concepção acadêmico-pedagógica focada no processo de ensino-aprendizagem, por meio do qual se desenvolve o protagonismo do estudante nas atividades de ensino, de pesquisa e de extensão.
From the very outset, Mackenzie has held to its motto, educate and not merely instruct, seeking to foster the harmonious development of the physical, moral, and intellectual dimensions of each student. It's not accident that so many illustrious figures in Brazil's history are Mackenzie's alumni. Down the years, what persists is the Mackenzie spirit. In the 1990s, Mackenzie's operations expanded beyond the city limits of São Paulo. Today, there are more than 40,000 Mackenzie students in 5 campuses: Alphaville, Brasília, Rio de Janeiro, Campinas, and Higienópolis.
O Instituto Presbiteriano Mackenzie tem feito investimentos significativos em sua expansão. A inauguração do edifício McGrath, em março de 2016, é uma prova cabal disto. No esporte, não fica atrás em nenhum momento. Ao patrocinar atletas olímpicos e paralímpicos, o Mackenzie escreve bem no alto dos pódios o seu nome.
We also must not overlook the excellence of Mackenzie's teaching staff. Professors with degrees, curricula in a constant process of renewal, and are concerned with training more than just good professionals. We are creating citizens. They do this by encouraging community development and philanthropical activities that relate the practices of students and teachers to the needs of the community. There are programs, projects, events, and courses involving arts, culture, and foreign languages, as well as the management of Mackenzie's Historical Center. Mackenzie Solutions was designed to work jointly with both private and public companies, as well as the third sector in consulting projects, researches, and in-company courses. To educate the individual for the exercise of citizenship and dignity grounded on Christian and Reformed foundations. To transmit moral and ethical values to serve as guidelines to the successful performances of Mackenzie's students in their lives as professionals and citizens. This has always been and will continue to be Mackenzie's ideal.
Okay, Professor Mike, this is a short presentation of our university. Obviously is a general view of the whole university. And today our focus is on technological issues.
Yeah.
Those issues were not so presented here because this is a general presentation. So today we'll focus on technological issues, and we'd appreciate your presentation so we can learn about your university.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Oh.
This is important. They are recording this meeting.
Right.
So that's fine.
Okay, I'll walk around a lot and make your job difficult. Thank you very much for your welcome. Thank you very much for your introduction. I'm Professor Mike Fitzpatrick from Coventry University in the UK, and my role at Coventry University is I'm Pro-Vice Chancellor for Engineering, Environment and Computing. Thank you for your welcome. I have to say that having just walked across the campus this morning, I was struck by both the environment and the atmosphere. All of the students seemed to be very happy. It seemed like a very friendly environment, very energetic, and it was really quite impressive for me. not having come here before. So yeah, I think it's a credit to the efforts of the staff in creating an environment like that, and I think that was reflected in the video that you presented.
We're glad that your first impression was very positive.
It was very positive indeed. Yes, and I didn't have to say that. I could have said nothing. Okay, let me tell you a bit about Coventry. So Coventry, just if you don't know where it is, Coventry is right in the centre of England. It's as far from the sea as it's possible to get. Now we date ourselves back 175 years. So Coventry was founded as the Coventry School of Art and Design, and it was founded in order to support the local textile industry. So Coventry was renowned as a producer of textiles, and the School of Art and Design was founded to support that industry. That foundation has shaped the institution ever since. We have always been a university that looks to work in partnership with the industrial environment in which we sit. And that's been very important as the institution has grown, as it has merged with other institutions, and when it finally became a university. So we have a tradition of practical and applied learning. We're based in Coventry, but we have a very global outlook, and we look to take education to students wherever they may be. We have 4 locations in the UK. We have a very successful campus in London, which mainly focuses on business and finance and marketing, things that play to the environment in London. And then we have campuses in East London and in Scarborough, which operate on a slightly different model from the core university campus. The courses are slightly more flexible. They're taught in 6-week blocks. That means that students are able to have breaks in their study if they wish to, and that model is at a lower cost than at the university campus. In the UK, for UK students, there is a limit on what universities can charge the students, but we for our what we call our CU group campuses, we managed to charge significantly below that, which is an attraction for students who might not otherwise be able to access university education. We're based around 4 faculties: engineering, environment and computing, which is my area, health and life sciences, business and law, and arts and humanities. Actually, in terms of students, we're now slightly higher than that. We're more at about 35,000, and our turnover has grown as well. So we are seen as being a very disruptive university in the UK market. We have risen significantly in the UK league tables by a very strong focus on teaching quality. And this is very important to us. The quality of the student experience matters to us a lot. Now, in the UK, we are a very heavily regulated and a very heavily measured university sector. The government instigated something recently called the Teaching Excellence Framework, and the first time that ran, we were given a gold ranking, and looking at the numbers, depending on how you look at them, we were either number 1 or number 2 for teaching quality in the UK, and that's very important to us. Talking a bit about the Faculty of Engineering, Environment and Computing, we have over 7,000 students within these fields. Now, that building doesn't exist yet. It's being built now. It will be ready later this year, and that building, the one behind it, was the original engineering building. I say the original one, the most recent one, part of the renaissance of our teaching efforts at Coventry. That was a £65 million investment. The new building is an additional £30 million just to cope with the growth that we have had because of the success of our facilities and our teaching model. So we're the largest undergraduate engineering intake in the UK. We are a very large engineering school. We use activity-led learning, which is bit different from the traditional way of teaching engineering and science. So those of you here who may have studied at the time that I did, traditional engineering teaching would often teach the theory first, and then after the theory you would be given examples. We turn that around. We give the students a problem or a process or a product, and we teach the theory to help them understand it. And we find that that's a much better way of engagement. Talking about the facilities, so the original engineering building at the top, what we call ECB2 is the one that's being built, and we will have even further expansion in the future. Let me give you an example of some of the different things that we do. So we're not focused entirely on just delivering from the university. We will take the students, we will put our facilities where they are best located. So this was our relaunch of manufacturing engineering a few years ago. So that building, it's our building, but it is not on the university campus. It is on a manufacturing site in Coventry, a few miles from the university. The building on the left is a manufacturing plant. We work with an automotive supply chain manufacturing company in partnership. So our manufacturing engineering students, they get direct access into the factory to see how manufacturing happens in practice. People from the factory support the students' learning journey. They get to do projects based on real problems that are happening in the plant, and then we work more broadly in partnership for research programs. We call it the first faculty on the factory floor. Talking a bit about our research is organised around 5 themes. We call them protect, pioneer, discover, regenerate and transform. And those 5 themes run across everything that we do in the institution. We want our research to have impact. And this is because of our history of being a university that works with industry. So we want our research to have impact on end users. And that might be industry, or it might be in the health professions. It might be in business. It might be in theatre and drama. This is also important because I said we are very heavily measured in the UK. Research is something where there is a national research assessment every 7 years, and impact, whether your research is used outside the university, is one of the measures that's important. We have well over 1,000 researchers working in our interdisciplinary centres, and we're investing very, very heavily in those centres for staff, for research students, and that investment is in addition to what we will be investing in the estate and our facilities. We work with industry and business, not just for research, but also for direct consultancy. We deliver training to industry. We do contract research programs with industry, and we have a dedicated enterprise and innovation team to support that, which sits separately from the research unit and means that we can carry out those activities without them conflicting with each other. We have a doctoral college which supports the research students. The growth of research students, of PhD students, is very, very important to us. And the doctoral college, in addition to supporting the PhD students in their training and development, also provides training in research support, in winning research grants and in managing research grants for all staff right the way through to professorial level. We're a very globally connected university. We have a goal that all of our students will have an international experience during their studies. Now, that does not necessarily mean that they get on a plane and they go abroad, but it will mean that they will engage with a project that's being run in collaboration with another university outside the UK. About 1/3 of our students and 20% of our staff are from outside the UK, and we have a growing number of strategic international research collaborations. In terms of international, we are the 3rd largest UK recruiter of overseas students, and we're also the 3rd largest provider of learning experiences outside the UK, so having our students go out from the UK. So We also have a large network of international partners who study our university degrees, our Coventry University degrees overseas. And we have received many awards for the success of what we've achieved. These are the areas where we have our key partnerships. We have 45 international partners who deliver our programs. Many of them are in Asia and the Middle East, but we're looking to grow this activity across the globe. And to be clear, this is something that we do in partnership. Yes? We do not build our own campuses overseas and run them separately. We look to partner with people in country because we think that that's the best way of delivering a truly global experience which is locally based but with the best quality education that the UK has to offer. So we have models of collaborative delivery which range from everything from flying faculty, so Coventry University staff, travelling to overseas sites to support our partners in delivery, through to dual awards, particularly around things like PhD level study, where students will spend time working at 2 separate universities with joint support from academics at both and will receive 2 degrees at the end of the process. And we also have progression arrangements where students may start a degree in one country and then progress to complete at Coventry. We have a very rich range of models and we work to find the best model for the particular partner that we're dealing with. Our international research strategy is about linking with leading research universities in key regions, and this is to drive the future success of the university. So we have been ranked as one of the top teaching universities in the UK. But being top at teaching does not necessarily help you in terms of the World University rankings, because the World University rankings are very driven by research volume. And we want to be recognised as a globally successful university, and that's one of the reasons that we're investing heavily in research. In order to do that, we want to be partnering with some of the best research universities around the world. So again, methods of engagement. We have a very sophisticated model for co-tutel, PhD students, students who study at more than one university and will receive 2 degrees at the end of it. This is an excellent way for students to access the best global facilities because we have some world-leading research facilities, but we don't have everything. So we will partner with other universities with things that are complementary to us. It means that we can put together unique research programs, the student gets an excellent experience, and we benefit in terms of the quality of the research that's produced and international co-authorship of the papers. So just talking about our research centres, we have what we call university research centres, which are very large and interdisciplinary, and then we have discipline-specific centres, so I'll just run through them fairly quickly. The university research centres, we have Future Transport and Cities, and Future Transport and Cities covers everything from manufacturing, materials and structures, through to supply chain, systems, so things like cybersecurity. We've been teaching cybersecurity for such a long time that we didn't used to call it cybersecurity. We used to call it network security, but of course nobody knows what that means anymore. People now know of cybersecurity, so we had to change the name. Design, we are one of the leading universities in the world for automotive design and transport design more broadly. And that's an area that we invest in very heavily. We've just opened the new National Transport Design Centre to make sure that our facilities remain the best in the field. We have a Centre for Trust, Peace and Social Relations. This is reflection that Coventry is the city of peace and reconciliation. The symbol of the university is the phoenix. The city itself was very badly damaged in the Second World War by bombing. The cathedral was destroyed. The symbol is the phoenix rising from the ashes, and that is a reflection of the rebirth of Coventry as a city following the Second World War. And this research centre builds on that and the expertise of the academics within it at everything from peace building, post-conflict resolution, through to interfaith studies and global development. We have a Centre for Agroecology, Water and Resilience, looking at food and water systems, everything from community engagement through to fundamental scientific processes. And we have a new centre in global learning, education and attainment, and this is building on the university's strength as a teaching organisation. So within the Faculty of Engineering, the discipline-specific centres, we have built a natural environment, and this is everything from more efficient materials for the construction of buildings, and more energy-efficient buildings, more energy-efficient systems for the operation of buildings. We have a Centre for Flow Measurement and Fluid Mechanics, and I just want to return to the point I made that we will put our students where they are best placed. The picture on the right is NEL, the former National Engineering Laboratory, which is based in Scotland. We work with them on complex flow measurement for the oil and gas industry. So the oil and gas industry needs to be able to measure what comes out of the pipelines, whether it's oil, whether it's gas, whether it's water, whether it's just mud and sand. The metering of that is important. It's a very difficult technological challenge. So we have a cohort of engineering doctorate students who are based at that research centre in Scotland, because it's more appropriate for them to be based there than at the campus in Coventry. So again, we are not dependent on putting students just in Coventry. We want them to be in the best place for where they're going to achieve their goals. Health and life sciences. Now we're just recasting these centres in order to make them more aligned, but we have advances in behavioural science. We have innovative research across the life course, everything from the development of social health through to development studies. We have sport, exercise and life sciences. We have an excellent track record in allied health research and in the education of allied health professionals. So people like physiotherapists and so on. The Faculty of Business and Law, we have a Centre for Business in Society, things like sustainable production, data again, so we have research into cybersecurity in several places within the university. I don't know why it keeps doing that. So cybersecurity is a key research theme for us. Financial and corporate integrity, everything from applied economics through to financial markets and institutions. And then in arts and humanities, we have a world-leading centre for dance research and a centre for post-digital cultures. So that's I hope is a good overview of what we do at Coventry. I hope it's given you a flavour of the activity, and we're very much looking forward to discussions on ways that we can collaborate. So, thank you very much.
Oh, perfeito. Eu acho que seria bem oportuno para iniciar a discussão.
As I introduced myself, I'm the Provost of Graduate Studies and Research in this university, and I'd like to take a few minutes. I'll be very quickly. I didn't prepare a picture of slides because I knew the computer would be always going back to the first one. Okay.
Look, it never stopped talking. It stopped
Okay. Our graduate programs here are pretty new. They have less than 20 years of existence. They start over in 1999, okay? And right now we have 13 programs. And all the academic graduate programs in Brazil, they are evaluated by the Ministry of Education, Okay, so they give grades from 3 to 7. 6 and 7 are considered programs of excellence. Okay, so we have 13 programs. We have 3 graded as 6. They are programs of excellence, child disorders, communication studies, languages, okay, and architecture, okay, which is pretty much in line with your design because architecture embeds design in its course. Then we have 3 graded as 5, 4 graded as 4, and 3 graded as 3, but they are very new programs. They didn't participate in the whole period. Every 4 years, CAPS grades the program. So those 3 programs didn't exist for 3 years when they were evaluated, okay? As in the body of all the universities in Brazil, we are the number 2 in average grades among the universities from 10 to 19 graduate programs. Okay, so we are very happy of the progress we did in less than 20 years. Okay. And research here, I didn't talk about the structure of graduate and research center, our team, okay? Professor Teixeira, Dr. Teixeira is the coordinator of graduate programs, and Dr. Teixeira as well is the coordinator of research, okay? They are not related, but both have our name Teixeira, okay? And both are Maria, so I have 2 Maria Teixeiras. Yeah, because we have a lot of synergy. I say Maria Teixeira in both answers. So we created a lot of synergy between graduate studies and research. In research, we have about 200 research projects being executed right now. Actually, they were executed in 2018. We consistently have got about 20 to 30 million reais of new research grants yearly to this university, okay? And we have a few research niches that we are very good in it. Nanotechnology, child disorders, in the engineer, I think our focus here will be more engineering, but we have a lot of pharmaceuticals. We have just inaugurated a laboratory for research molecules for pharmaceuticals, okay? So we have a broad range of research in this university, okay? We have some excellent center, but here in this university, we have a program of electrical engineering and computing. They are together here. Engineering is the only unit in this university that have 3 graduate programs: astrophysics, geosciences, nanotechnology, materials, which are very close to what we do personally, and we have electrical engineering and computing. They are graded, all of them are graded as 4, and we hope that in the next evaluation we'll be promoted to 5. We are dealing with our innovation ecosystem. When I became provost, our rector, our dean of the university, our president, he has transferred the innovation coordination to this, to my responsibility, okay? I have a coordination with, who is not here right now, and we are rebuilding the whole ecosystem of innovation. We have on the other side of the street, we have the incubation of companies, of startups, okay? And we are promoting a new intellectual property policy. We just have it written down, signed by our officers, high officer of the university, and we have about 5 to 10 high technology startups in line today. They are not all set up, but I think they will be until the end of the year. Okay, and that's pretty much what we do in terms of graduate studies and research. Did I forget anything? No, that's it. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I would like to add some comments. Professor Paulo presented the postgrad programs we have. 3 of them are attached to engineering school. But we conduct researches in many other fields, not only in these 3 programs. civil engineering, we don't have a postgrad program, but we have a lot of research programs within the School of Engineering, as well as mechanic engineers, electrical engineers, electronic and communication. We have a very strong lab center in digital TV. That is very important. We contribute very strongly in order to achieve the national, Brazilian national digital standard. And we are at the moment started the new digital standard in digital TV in Brazil, and we are in this field also. I mentioned civil, mechanical, electronic, communication, and chemical. We have a very strong research center in chemical. We're going to present to you the labs, chemical labs that are very new and very well equipped. And what else we have that I forgot? Material is very close to the postgrad program, and the production engineering also is a very strong program also. And material, we have Dr. Paulo mentioned very briefly about our research center that is focused on graphene and bidimensional materials. We invested a lot of money in that, and we have a very the technology we research there is very ahead of everything we do in our country. So very few research centers are in the same level as our center here. So this is a brief view of the researches we are conducting within the School of Engineering. So maybe you can point out some research issues that you see, you can suggest us to start off our discussion in order to maybe start a conversation in this direction. If you could do that, I would appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy to say a few words, although I will be. It's against the context of not knowing the details of the programs that you're running, but from what you've said, I think that there are some clear opportunities in the engineering space. Yeah? So particularly around civil engineering, for example. So in civil engineering, we work on low impact buildings. So we're very interested in materials aspects, in how you can do advanced developments for traditional materials. So what you can do with the next generation of concrete materials, for example. And there's been some interesting work done recently, not necessarily at Coventry, but looking at things like the integration of graphene into construction materials, and what that gives you in terms of improvement in properties, possibly embedded sensing technologies, or possibly even sort of lower carbon emissions during the production of the material or over the whole life cycle. So I think I'd be very interested in having some discussions around that. And then more broadly, materials. So materials engineering is a key theme for us. Now we tend to work more on the structural application side, so applications particularly in aerospace and in nuclear power plants, but we also do an increasing amount of work in materials characterization. So I think that some of the work that you're doing in novel materials, that would be interesting to explore further. Now those are just my areas where I can see some immediate areas of interest. But I think that, that from what you said, that there will almost certainly be areas more broadly that we'll be able to exploit.
So this is our first point. Materials related to structure, concrete, adding probably graphene. This is one area we could focus our first agreement, maybe.
And I think you said about architecture as well.
Yes,
now, and so we've architecture has been something that we have taught for a long time, and as well as architecture, architectural technology, which is sort of the more technical design side. Now, where that's best expressed in our research is through what we are doing on transport design, and the design of overall transport systems, which is becoming increasingly important. And now, we do some of the technical aspects of that, so we're looking at things like battery technology for the future, which again is something where graphene is now becoming important in the design of novel electrode systems. The use of hydrogen in the future, in future vehicles. We actually have a university spin-out company that manufactures hydrogen fuel cell driven vehicles. But then as you start to look at things like autonomous vehicles, and again, that's something where cybersecurity is particularly important, but what is going to be the future of autonomous vehicles and how you design your city transport systems to enable the use of autonomous vehicles safely and to maximum benefit within a system. And that's an extension of traditional architectural principles.
No, go.
No, as a matter of fact, I was going to give a suggestion, okay? I think we can choose two areas for initial discussion. One is yours, one is Scopus area, okay? And I was going to suggest that maybe you and Couto can explain what you do in graphene and polymers. Couto has a very interested with you in what you do. And later on, maybe not today because you're in the School of Engineering, she works with health. And they have a very nice project with the London Business School for public policy for health.
Okay.
And I saw that you have some health things, but I don't think we have much time today. So my suggestion is if Guilhermina and Prof can explain what they do right now.
For the presentation. I think that we can talk with the
Sorry.
sorry. Thank you for the presentation. My name is Guilhermino Fechini. I'm in the head of Materials Composite in Graphene Center. So me and Jari is over there. Jari is the head of energy in Graphene Center also. You are looking for some collaboration partners. And in my area is in a polymer, we try to introduce graphene and other 2D materials in order to improve some mechanical, electrical, different properties of the polymer. I don't know if you are interested in some new materials in order to have light materials for aerospace or even for construction. I think we have a lot of things to discuss. And me and Jairo also. I think for batteries, supercapacitors. I think during the visiting, you can talk a little bit more deeper and see what you have in common to discuss. I think it's better because you can see the labs, you can discuss more deep.
And who knows, you can schedule one agenda of next steps.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
It doesn't have it here, but you can.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, Jairo, would you like you to add your comments about your research on
Thanks, Professor. Nice talk. I would like to describe what have been done in energy area. Okay, at the energy area we have prepared nanomaterials for application in different energy devices, usually for supercap to develop new electrodes, to prepare the supercap, to prepare new batteries, new kind of batteries using synthesized new materials for this kind of application, and also for environmental applications, okay? Using these materials for develop a membrane for desalination applications, yeah, for capacitive ionizations also. And it's interesting in our presentation that you can combine, for example, sensors for health applications. I saw that you have a nice center about this kind of area, and you can develop, for example, sensors for this. This is one brief what I have been developing in energy area.
Thank you, Professor, for your talk. Just briefly mention, I had the opportunity to visit Coventry for a couple of days. Although I was visiting your neighbors at Warwick, I was collaborating with them.
I've never heard of them.
I imagine so. Just mention another possible opportunity here. I'm in the space science program, and right now we have a history of developing radio telescopes, and now going into infrared detectors for astrophysics. And a very recent track in these detectors to fly into space. There was a recent balloon flight in collaboration with the Americans, balloon flight in Antarctica for solar observations, and now a new idea to get detectors in the space station. But now, at the moment, we're going mostly for commercial sensor infrared, but maybe there's something developing new detectors. And not only that, it might glance into your aerospace structures. I don't know if you tackle things like radiation damage or things like that. How long you could maintain a detector in space, or design the materials for it last longer, and so on and so on. So there might be something there that we can chat.
Yeah, I will just respond to that. Thank you. That's very interesting. Now, within the group, we do actually do work on irradiation damage. Now, it actually tends to be in nuclear power applications, which is a very different radiation field. But we do a lot of work with the Harwell campus in the UK, which is where the UK's national facilities are located. So we do work with the neutron source and the synchrotron X-ray source and the laser facility. And we work on the development of new beamlines, particularly at the neutron source. One of the new beamlines that has been developed, although we weren't involved, is one for looking at radiation resistance of electronics. So it's a beamline which basically allows you to do long-term neutron bombardment of electronics in order to see what the effect is and see what the degradation mechanisms are. So that might be something that would be interesting to have a collaboration about. Thanks.
There is another area we would like to improve our partnership with you, if possible. That is in the autonomous vehicles business. We are interested not only on the matters that relates to the electronic equipment, but also with the motor of the vehicles. We are interested in electrical system that are integrated in these vehicles. Fuel as well, because we have a search of natural fuel that comes from sugar cane. That is a study that we could improve in order to substitute gasoline or diesel that is an area we would like to start studying. We don't have a group that is focused on that, but maybe we could together develop a project on that direction. Because, as you mentioned, you are in this research as well. Maybe, where is Haya? Haya. He's the man that is interested in this kind of program. Yeah.
If I can respond again. So only last week we formally opened a new centre for applied low-carbon propulsion systems. It's a partnership with a German automotive technology company, FEV, and around that we have a research team which is looking at battery technology and power electronics for the next generation of vehicles. So again, a very interesting match and possibilities for collaboration.
Good. Okay. I would like Cole to mention something about his project that maybe in that area there is something.
I have worked with Professor Jan, Professor Massi, my PhD students, and postdoc Alexandra and Gisele. I have been on fatigue of aluminum alloys after residual stress, and studied to titanium alloys and Inconel after nitrogen, plasma nitrogen, thermal oxidation. I worked to intermetallics and biomaterials. They speak something? Gisele.
Good morning. We work in the metal area. In my doctorate degree, I study a titanium alloy with a plasma nitrogen treatment to improve the grip, the mechanical study mechanical properties of this alloy, and the more specific in the grip tests. We have the equipment in the university. I think in the visitation we go there to know the laboratory, and I think it's an area related with your work, and our intention is work together to improve this work with similar things and or other materials. I work with titanium alloy, but Professor Couto has another students that work with Inconel, and Alexandra that works with the same alloy, but in fatigue tests, and I think it's a good opportunity to improve our work. Okay?
Yeah. So it's worth saying that fatigue of aluminium alloys, residual stress, that's my personal research area. So yeah, very interested in collaborating about that. And we also do work on titanium. At the moment, we've been quite interested in work on additive manufacturing of titanium alloys, and how the specifics of the process that you use in additive manufacturing then affects the final property. So we've got several projects running with that. We partner with the National Structural Integrity Research Centre in the UK, which is based at the Welding Institute. And we have 10 PhD students, again, not in Coventry, at the Welding Institute, who are working on a range of problems, including coatings for the oil and gas industry, residual stress and fatigue, and additive manufacture of titanium. So, yeah, again, very, very easy fit.
We have measured residual stress by X-ray diffraction.
Okay, yeah. And we have X-ray diffraction. We also do incremental hole drilling, the contour method, and because we can access the facilities, neutron diffraction, synchrotron X-ray diffraction, and we work with groups around the world collaborating on those techniques.
I would like Professor Agustin, who was in charge of production engineering until a few months ago, he probably has something to propose in order to get agreement with them.
Thank you. Thank you for your words. In fact, related to the industrial engineering, we have two concerns. First of all, about supply chain related to Coventry University, not only contact, but to know which steps or change ideas about in this field. This will be very important related to us, especially in Brazil, considering size, whatever. And second point is related to topics in finance. As you know, and as also Brazilians knows, UK has a strong experience in this area, and related to industrial engineering, also this is an important issue, especially related to numbers, cost, and other experience related to in which we could say some topics in several fields could be related to industrial engineering and, of course, for zero industry. This is important to us, and after your words, we noticed that Coventry University has a strong knowledge about such ideas. Then this could be improved. This could be some topics which we have a strong interest to develop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, I can see that that's an area where I'm less sure of what we're doing, because we're just in the process of establishing a new centre in that area. But I think that we will know better in a few months, and we'll be able to have some very detailed discussions around that.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. Good.
There's another area I would like to go back.
Yeah.
In the civil engineering area, I think there is a lot to learn about that is related with concrete, adding graphene and things like that. Maybe Professor Patricia would say some comments about that. If you like the head of Professor Giselle.
Thank you. My English is not very good, so. One possible is using oxide de graphene for elevated to resistant in 2 or 3 days in our case, and using transport in infrastructure or pavement, layers of pavement, using well-graded cemented is the materials for the resistance in 2 or 3 days, when the normal is 7 days or 28 days, it's possible the gain of resistance.
Okay. Again, very interesting because we within our Centre for the Natural Environment, we have somebody who works on pavement technology. So again, it's very easy fit.
Patricia's field of expertise. Patricia's field of expertise is pavement, and.
Okay, so there is somebody I'll give you a name of somebody to talk to straight away at Coventry who works in exactly that area.
She has some students, scientific initiation students, who work with the introduction of graphene oxide in pavements in order to gain resistance in less than 30% of the time that usually take to achieve such resistance. Okay.
So, yeah, very, very, very interesting.
I've
got 2 researchers who would be interested in talking to you about that.
And also, I'd like to say a little bit about my field of expertise. I think it's more related to yours, personally, because I've been working with aluminum alloys for more than 25 years, especially aeronautic alloys. I dabbled in pinforming for just a brief moment, together with a project that we developed in together with Embraer couple of years ago. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so yeah, interested in talking further. The last issue I would like to Tiago or Evelyn make some suggestions.
I just came to the university, so I'm trying to set up a lab here to characterize materials by mass spectrometry mostly. So you talk about characterization of materials and also on health science, and that's what our goal here, to have a lab that could characterize materials from inorganic materials to organic to cells, tissues, and that's something that we couldn't find a way to collaborate.
Be interesting to know what the sort of lab that you're looking to set up. We're about to invest in an extension to our materials characterization facility, which in the main is for mechanical characterization of materials, but we want to move towards having sort of the full chemical range as well. So it might well be that if we've got some unique facilities that the others doesn't have, that there's an opportunity for collaboration.
Yeah, we want to have some the most advanced instruments here, such as MAUDI, mass spectrometers, NMRs, and I think we can find really nice ways to collaborate on the characterization of many different types of materials. So we just have to find some place here to have the lab, and as soon as we start working, we'll be really... Yeah, like for health science, we have this collaboration with some hospitals here in São Paulo, and we want to set up a diagnostic center for cancer, for tissue analysis. That will be excellent, and I think we can find some ways to collaborate with you also.
Definitely, yes.
Yeah, good.
Thank you very much. I think we have identified 2 areas to begin immediately, okay? The area about metal alloys or something like that. I'm not in this field, so, and the graphene. So I think our university has all the interest in promote deeper conversation about these 2 areas, and the other ones will be. We are also interested, but that's going to be in a second moment. So my question is, how do we proceed from here? Do we have to sign an agreement or something like that? We have. Okay. No, we have an umbrella agreement. So we have to promote additive terms to this agreement, okay? I understand that our agreement is an umbrella that covers the whole university, okay? So, but now we have to start to discuss specific agreements to add to the main one. So how to proceed? Can we prepare an agreement and send to you for evaluation in these 2 areas and stuff? Okay. Today is Friday, so next week we'll work on that and send you something. Okay? Thank you very much.
Hello. Professor, hi, my name is Edson. I teach computing for engineers. Okay. By the way, is there any kind of work that we can do together by our students learning computing with your crew, or by studying any possibility of interchange, for instance? We used to teach C++ and something like that, but it's very interesting because we used to approach in a specific way to teach computing for an engineer, okay? So I have an opportunity to work with all the areas of engineer here, and it's very interesting. There are similar things in there, but I learned about my experience that teaching computing for engineers, you have to take care about some math formulas and some specific algorithms, okay? And could you tell us something about your university in this area for us, please?
So, okay, there are a couple of things I'll say. Firstly, in terms of working together, so we've been talking about research a lot. One of the things that we've had a lot of success with at the level of teaching students at the undergraduate, the master's level, is something that we call online international learning. So I said that we want all of our students to have an international experience. One of the things that we do is, our students do project work. Yeah? Your students do project work. So if in an area in computing, you have 2 faculty members who have similar interests, then what they do is they set their students the same project task, and the groups of students, they work together. And they work together, they don't leave their countries, but they work using Skype, using WhatsApp, and it's a very, very good experience for them because they have to learn to work across time zones and across cultures, and they're learning the skills that they'll have to have when they go and they get a real job in a global company. So we've run many projects on this model, and that's certainly something that we'd be interested in collaborating, across the institution. And it's an easy thing because, of course, it doesn't require anything other than 2 faculty members coming up with a mutually interesting project. And then beyond that, you can start to look at student mobility and academic mobility as well. So again, a whole range of models that we can deploy.
Okay, I think we have covered several areas. We have many ideas, and besides the formal documents, MOU, etc., that we will take care of that. But I'm worried about not losing these ideas we comment here. That's why I point out Professor Mário Sérgio in order to be the one that will take care of the process of hands-on. We cannot lose the idea, so he is in charge of this job. You are responsible not to forget anything we have discussed here. Okay? So, I'd like to thank you for your presentation, for your discussion with us. And before going to our coffee break, I'd like to give you some gifts from the university.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed.
Very welcome. And this is for you, Erika.
None of this would have happened without Erica.
Yes, thank you for having brought Professor Mike here to be with us.
I just want to say very quickly, I'm based here in São Paulo, so it's very easy just to pick up the phone and call me. Unfortunately, I ran out of cards, but my colleagues here already have my details. Maria Lage as well. I want to thank her for organizing this with Luciana. So it's very easy to reach me. And I think that we have identified a couple of areas, but all the other ideas that we had here and other ideas may arise in the next week, we can already start the interaction between the academics, because I think this is the most rich way of getting things progressed. So you start your own conversation, keeping us in the loop, please. But then we carry on, and that's a way we identified a couple of subjects just to kick off. But our intention is to be a very long-established relationship with you. Okay, thank you very much.
So, thank you.